I'm Nell from Drummers Floral, and I am so excited to be here with you today. We are going to work on your Thanksgiving centerpiece today. I'm so happy that you purchased or you're going to be part of this discussion today. I want you to first notice the things that we have out here on the table. The thing about Thanksgiving and fall, if it still really is fall, is that there's so many different textures and elements and things that we can have to work with. That is what our centerpiece is going to be about today, is more the textures and just the flavor of the season as compared to a lot of florals. As you see, we have evergreens here. We have a lot of dried ingredients that we'll be working with. We have my ever favorite eucalyptus that is very trans-seasonal. And then we have a few other elements that will give us some texture and little pops of color as we go forward. The first thing we're going to start with is our container. And what we have here is just a very nice bowl. In it, when you receive this, you will have some Oasis foam put in this with a little bit of water just to help you transport. When you get home, I would like you to put more water in there and then also add some of your floral food to help nourish your flowers throughout the season. This is our beginning piece. As you can see, it can be made to be all around. It can be made to be one-sided. You can go longer with it. You can go whatever direction you would like. But two things I really want you to remember. And these two things are, have fun with this. This is not about being perfect. This is about having some fun. And the other part is, you saw the piece I did online or whatever. Take it away out of your head. This is your piece. It is not my piece. Everybody brings their own artistic value and gift to this, and it's yours. It's not mine. And to tell you the honest truth, I can't even remember the other piece. So what this turns out to be is what it's going to be, and that's what we're going to do. So first thing, we have our pot. We have our foam in here, and what we want to do is make it look like a little plant. We want to fill it up a little bit so that it covers the edges, it softens it a little bit, but we don't want to overdo it because we have a lot of stuff to put in here, and we just want to make sure it stays just like a nice soft little plant on our table. I'm going to use, to start my base, is what this is called lemon leaf or salal, as you might know. You will see it's pretty long. If I put this in here like this, my centerpiece is going to cover the whole table. So what I'm going to do is find my break points. I'm going to go to my break points, and that means where the leaves are. I'm going to make a cut. I also want to make sure that I have plenty room for an insertion. When I insert this, I do not want any foliage on here. I want this clean and crisp so it takes up the moisture from the Oasis as best as it can. So I'm going to go right to the edge of my pot, and I'm going to insert this. And now it just dawned on me, you did not see what I did, probably. So I'm going to make another cut. I'm going to cut this down here. I'm going to get rid of this little leaf, and I'm going to just insert that in. I want to make sure I have a good ½ inch insertion. I do not want it to be any less than that. Number one, it'll fall out. Number two, it won't get nourished properly. So I'm going to continue going around my bowl, just like this, going low on the top of the bowl, and just brace it in a little bit. Now I can keep going with this and have it as full as I want, but enough. We have too much other fun stuff. This is also a piece that is going to be trans-seasonal. So you water this properly, you take care of it, you will be able to have this on your table for a long time, especially during this holiday season. Here's some evergreen. Same thing. I'm going to take it where a break is, I'm going to cut it, then I'm going to strip my stem. Just like that. And I'm going to stick this in here too. Now, I'm working backwards on this, so you're going to have to be a little patient with me because I'm really not sure what you're seeing, but we'll do the best we can. So, here's a lot of little pieces, and I'm just still going to go on the edge. Now, here's another piece. Well, there's two pieces here. This piece here is still pretty flat, pretty straight. I'm going to strip it, cut it, and put it in here again. Now, remember a plant, how a plant grows. Some comes out of the center, some comes out of the sides. It's just not all around the bottom. So I'm going to start putting a little up because this lends itself to go up. Here's another piece of evergreen. This is some cedar. Obviously, if I put this up, it's going to look a little not so hot. So what I'm going to do, I have a 1/2 inch at least here. I want a little flop. I like things a little floppy, a little messy. You can tell by this hair. Anyway, there it is right there, flopping right over my bowl. Now, I'm going to want to match this a little bit on the other side because I want this to be a little longer of a centerpiece. So I'm going to go with that there too. So I'm going to keep building. Now this one here, I can do that. That works fine. So there's no like rule of thumb. You just gotta kind of look at your piece, decide where you think it looks best, and put it in there. We also have, this is called Huck. You can see that it also has some of the burgundy colors in it. So it's gorgeous for this centerpiece that we're doing in the color palette. Now I'm going to take little pieces of this because I want this for the line. It's still going to go out in the center. It's got, some of it has great blueberries on it. And I'm doing the line. What I'm saying is that it's a straight piece up. And so I want it, when I look at that piece, that draws my eye. So when we look at that, and that is what I see is kind of that line. So I want to make sure that's really accented. In a table centerpiece, you also keep in mind that you want it to be airy on top. You don't want it to be so full that if I'm sitting that I can't see you across the table through the centerpiece. So, something to remember too, put your elbow down, put your hand up. This is as high as you want that centerpiece to be. And especially with all the elements. Now, you've been to weddings, you've been to things where the centerpiece takes over the whole table. Beautiful. I'm not saying you should do that, but keep in mind for your Thanksgiving table, if you're going to be visiting with anybody besides your husband, you might want to have something that's just a little bit more open on the top. Keep your weight at the bottom and keep a little more airiness up here at the top. To continue on with my Huck, I am going to put some closer to the bowl because I do want it to have some line down there, but I'm just going to kind of fill in the gaps. Now, this is always like, okay, she just said this and now she's doing this, but look at this piece. It is phenomenal. So this piece is a statement in itself. I might cut one little piece off of here. I might transfer that right down in here, and the rest of this is going into the bowl as is because I love it. So there it is. See how pretty that is, just pieced in there like that. Now we continue on. This long spiral one is definitely very fragrant. If you have an aversion to fragrance, you may want to stay away from this one. This seeded one does not have the fragrance, but if it's something that's an issue for you, put it outside of one of your pots. So take my hands, I'm going to strip that, I'm going to cut it, and then I'm going to put this one in here. You can see I'm still pretty good. I haven't gone completely over my boundaries yet. Not saying I won't, but I haven't yet. So there's kind of my look with the spirals. Just because they're getting a little full in here, the next thing I'm going to add is my pumpkin, our white pumpkin. Now, this is going to be a focal point, so we want to make sure that it's up here and prominent and not tucked away someplace. And it's good to put it in early simply because we've got too much stuff in here and we can't get it otherwise. Now, look what I did. Okay, so I put it in there. I wanted to sew this piece, and then I put this guy, he's leaning backwards in the poor guy, he needs to get out of here. So I'm going to take him out. I can always take things out of the foam and reinsert them. Not a problem. The one thing I don't want to do is I don't want to put it in the foam, pull it out a little bit, and then leave it. What happens is it creates an air pocket, and then it can no longer get nourished by the food and the water that's in your container. So take them out, do whatever you want, but always make a nice clean insertion when you put it back in. We're going to add here next some more of this eucalyptus. This is going to give me that drapey look all over my table. What I want you to think about is, like I said before, we can always add, so to keep it lighter, and then start putting more stuff in later. Here is our pampas grass, which is wonderful this time of year. We're going to add a touch of this. Remember I said, this is texture. This is all about texture. Just cut those stems off. And I like that there. Now, be careful that you don't look like bunny ears. We are going to add our gravel. This is a beautiful, it's a dyed burgundy, but it gives us that burgundy color. Look at all the different points on here. You can see there's different parts where there are breaks. So we're going to do this again. We're going to cut this off by a leaf. The other thing, I'm not so worried about this stuff because it's kind of dried and it's very much been already dyed. So it's not going to do a whole lot in here anyway, besides just give us some color. So we're going to add pieces of this in here. I'm going to cut it again. And you can use all these little pieces in here. Now, if you're looking at the picture that you saw and you're going, oh, she's right. She's not doing it all like the picture. Well, that day I had that kind of a vision. This day I have a different kind of vision. So you can see how this is taking shape, okay? The next thing we're going to add are our mums. These are white button mums, and you've got many little parts here. You've got these little buds, which is another texture element. You have some bigger flowers in here that are opening up. But I don't want this big glob just in here. It's just too much for this. So I'm just taking these little parts off until I get about, I think about 3. Then I'm going to cut this. I'm just going to insert that in there. But now I've got these little guys. And what I want to do with these is use these too. So I'm going to find a home for these. But when I'm going to recut that stem so it's nice and clean. And I'm going to make a little grouping here and just group these guys together. These little buds are fabulous texture pieces. Give us a little bit of excitement to look at and just give us another element. That looks really stupid there, but this here. There we go. Now, if I was looking at this, I'd go, what the heck is she thinking? This is way too long. So, I don't, see where my breaks are here? I can't cut it and keep it together and have it look decent. So I'm going to cut this whole thing off and make 3 separate little flowers and put this in. And I think that looks a little bit better. Much better. Then we also have our Hypericum berry. I'm going to take off these extra leaves in here, but you can see where I've got some Hypericum growing down here, and then I have this bigger bunch up here. This time, these bigger ones are not really large, so I may not have enough space to get them in there right. I may or may not. This one here, I can cut this just like this. I can put those leaves off. I can cut this one a little bit lower and insert that in here. I can get by with this one. So I'm going to cut that branch off like this. And I'm going to tuck right in here. Another thing to remember, you can see what's happening here. There's some things in and there's some things out. You do not want everything all the same distance from the center. It's good to break it up a little bit and especially when we're doing an arrangement where there's just so much texture. We're going to start adding a few more things. Here is another burgundy leaf. I'm also cutting this one. If you want yours to be, like I said before, just long and full, go ahead and do that. But I am trying to keep this a little bit more compact. This is a dried element, so you don't have to worry so much about how deep it gets in the water. We also have some pods. This is in here just for, we have two more other ones that to balance this out. I keep putting those in the back and filling this out all the way around. So this is basically how you're going to be doing your centerpiece. You're going to keep adding different elements. You're going to keep cutting them, putting them in until you complete all the way around. If by chance you decide that you're going to use a buffet and you only want to do one side, just start back farther on your foam and move forward. Golden rule, never leave your oasis in the back exposed. So just take some greens and tuck it in there, because you want them to know that you went to a professional florist and did this, because that's what you are today. That is what you're doing today. So you just keep building, you keep adding, you keep filling in your holes, and just keep working until it's complete. I hope you enjoy making this. I hope it's just fun. Just know that it's not right, it's not wrong, it's just you, and you need to have fun and love every minute of it. It's your centerpiece, and happy Thanksgiving.